Content governance. Producing good content means ensuring the environment is easy to navigate and use. And we've been looking at easy navigation and usability throughout the semester when dealing with college websites. We have been trying to figure out which websites have the best usability, the best and easiest navigation, and the best and easiest functionality. Now, it's easy to produce content, but the question is the content easy to navigate and use? And I'm repeating myself, but navigation and usability are the major components of a website and to users' experiences. It's hard to maintain and create actually content that is relevant and valuable to your users. But there is a content life cycle that helps organizations and designers like ourselves to create relevant and valuable content. There are 4 stages to the life cycle of content governance, and they're here on the screen, and they're request, create, manage, and retire. Now, the request phase is all about understanding the requirements that are needed to improve the user's experiences, when dealing with the content on your web page. Now, the create phase. In order for content to be productive and be produced correctly, there must be a workflow and security access information in order. In the manage phase, you're trying to keep the content process practical, and there are day-to-day activities that can be performed in order to keep the process going and practical and in the minds of all of your designers and people who are working with the website. And finally, the retirement phase, ensuring that all of the information is clear and relevant and valuable, and that you're getting rid of any irrelevant information that you may have on the site. The request phase is it's all a way to enhance the quality of the user's experiences. And there are 4, as you can see on the screen, requirements that we as designers must understand in order to create good content. And as you can see, they're ownership, business purpose, prerequisite education, and success criteria. Ownership is all about taking advantage of features that are offered by the content management systems. So we need to make sure that all individuals and groups within the organization are associated with the content. This will ensure that somebody has the responsibility of the content so that the content isn't just out there, people just don't know, people within your company don't know what they're trying and aiming for, but the ownership phase really makes sure that people know the features and know what the content is supposed to be about. The business purpose. The purpose of this part of the phase is that it weeds out requests that are moderate validations that really don't help to increase and help the content management. So if you use the business purpose, it will help you to weed out content that's irrelevant and invaluable. Prerequisite education. Now this is all about outlining resources that are needed and that are not needed. If you think about it, this will give your organization the time to think about, what resources are valuable to producing your content. What resources do you have that are going to help you get to that bottom line of good content? This is also important because it will help you and your organization commit to the visions of the project. And success criteria may be one of the most important requirements within this phase because it's used to determine whether or not the project should continue to exist. Does the content on the web page and within the project, does it meet the original goal? This requirement during this phase should really have a review point in which you can check the progress against your original goals and then this will ensure that you are producing valuable and relevant content. Now, valuable and relevant content is the most important thing within a website, especially within a college website. You have prospective students, you have college students who are there now, parents who are all coming to the college website and looking for valuable information and relevant information to their specific needs. And like it says on the bottom, this not understanding these requirements will lower the quality of your user experience. Creating phase. In order to begin production, you must make sure that there's a workflow and security access information in place. And these two things, workflow and security access, are ways in which you can ensure that the materials are properly managed. And they're properly managed by determining access and assigning the workflow. This will make sure that everything is appropriate for your site. Determining access. Who has access to your information? Making sure that the successfulness of the content being developed is enhancing the user's experience. Usually the access rights should only be visible to the users that it will relate to. Going back to irrelevant and invaluable information, you do not want to be giving your users irrelevant and invaluable information because it may turn your user away pretty fast. That way, this will ensure this phase, create phase in the determining access, will make sure that your users are only being exposed to what they need to be exposed to. And very basically, assigning workflow, the content conforms to the management and editorial requirements. This is usually an optional section because it usually really depends on the nature of the content. The management phase. During the management phase, your metadata, or the information that you have about your content, should be based around ownership, and that is the #1 management phase approach, updating content ownership. And updating content ownership is really important because you're making sure that the content is reflecting the ownership, not only the ownership, but everybody who is involved in creating the content. Sometimes people move from like job to job within the creation or development of a website, and updating that information can be extremely crucial to maintaining a successful content-based website. So it says right there, in order to keep the content lifecycle process pragmatic, there's little day-to-day activities that need to happen. And the retirement phase, lastly, it allows for the opportunity to weed out irrelevant and invaluable information. And this phase will really help you to streamline the user's ability to browse and search for the content that they're needing. And the #1 retirement phase approach is to act on metrics established during the request phase. And this is all about making sure that only relevant information is up on your website for the lifespan that is needed, because all content has a lifespan, and once the lifespan of the content has worn itself out, there's really no use for it on your website because it's just producing things that aren't needed. So once you realize that the content is no longer relevant, you should be making fast work to replace it with relevant information. Now I'm going to go back to the same quote, producing good content means ensuring the environment is easy to navigate and use. And I think this quote sums it all up, just like it began the presentation, because if you use each content life cycle stage properly, you'll have no problem producing relevant and valuable content. Relevant and valuable content, again, is the most important thing to your user, because if you have relevant and valuable content, you can easily navigate and use the website. So as designers, we should be making sure that our user is getting everything out of the website that they need to, that it's easy to navigate and use, that they can find what they need, like parents might need financial aid advice on a college website. Is it easy to navigate to that section of the website? One of the most important things you should take away from this presentation, aside from navigation and usability, is that content has a lifespan, and you should know the content's lifespan, and you should be replacing it with valuable information as needed.